Matt Mochigrosso here, creator of Xenoplicity and the Q system that it runs on. Xenoplicity is a tabletop role-playing game. It's going to come in hardback, softback, PDF, so pick it up in whatever copy format that you like. It's going to be available on drivethrurpg.com. The book comes in at 183 pages. It's got lots of illustrations. Okay, it's easy to read. It's easy to navigate. When we were building Xenoplicity from the ground up, we wanted to make a game that was different, that played differently, that had a lot of unique aspects to it. I'm a big fan of the hobby. I've been playing tabletop role-playing games for over 25 years now. I absolutely love it. I've got a lot of games on my own shelf. I continue to play these games. These are all great games in their own way. But I was always left wanting something more, something different. And for better or worse, a lot of these games, even across different systems, they all kind of work in similar ways. There has not been a lot of innovation in the gaming system, the format for the way that we play tabletop role-playing games over the last 30, 40 years. So I wanted to take a crack at doing something different. And in my estimation, I believe Xenoplicity does the game better than a lot of these games can. Now, you might say, well, yeah, you're biased. You created the game, and that's fair. But the thing that makes Xenoplicity so cool is that it doesn't run like a lot of other games that you're familiar with. Everything from the way a turn works, to the way that players interact with each other at the table, to the way that the game functions, it's all going to be different and unique. The game does come with 3 settings, and you can use these in conjunction with each other or separate, however you want to do that. The game has science fiction, it's got fantasy, and it's got post-apocalypse. And so we provide you setting material for all 3 of these. And again, you can play whatever works best for you, whatever you and your table want to play, whatever you like to play. This game's going to offer you something for that. We have a really nice chapter on game mastering. Our game master, we call them the director. And so we have a whole section, a whole chapter on directing. It's got a lot of great advice if even if you've been in the hobby for a long time. I think you're going to find this chapter to be filled with lots of good advice. Maybe gives you different perspective on gaming that maybe than what you're used to. But if you're new to the hobby, you've never played before, or maybe you're looking to get into it, or wanting to start game mastering, Xenoplicity is a fantastic system to start with because it is easy to run, it is easy to manage, it's easy to learn, and it's just a lot of fun to play, whether you're the director or whether you're a player playing a player character. No matter where you sit at the table, you are going to have a blast playing Xenoplicity. One of the things that makes Xenoplicity different is that it is a player-facing system. It is, in essence, a lot of the roles are going to be made by the players as opposed to the director, the game master, and so this really frees the game master up to do more narration, to do more bookkeeping and other aspects. Their hands are not as tied; they are not bogged down with enemy stats and things of that nature. But that doesn't mean that you won't be rolling dice as the game master. You will still get to roll lots of dice. I know there's a lot of players, especially for my generation, gamers that have been playing for a long time. They're reluctant to try out player-facing systems because they like to roll dice. They want to roll dice. They love to throw the dice across the table, to hear that sound of dice rolling. And so why would you want to be cut out of that part of the fun? In Xenoplicity, everyone is going to be rolling dice, including the game master, the director. They just don't roll for things like, does the NPC hit you or not? Okay, that's what they are not rolling for. But they're rolling for plenty of other things, and so you'll have plenty of opportunity to roll dice in the game. So don't let that keep you from trying out Xenoplicity. One of the things that's so cool about a player-facing system, and Xenoplicity, we capitalize on this in this game, is that it works great for solo gameplay. And so there are rules in this game for playing solo. If you want to play by yourself, whether you weren't able to get together with your group, or maybe your friends are out of town and you just really want to play like a tabletop role-playing game, you can use this system and play solo. This is also a great way to vet a dungeon that you create, or some kind of maybe a game that you want to run for your group. You can create a player character yourself. You can throw in some NPC hired hands from some followers, and you can go through your adventure or your dungeon and vet it, test it out, see how it's going to run prior to your game night with your friends. So no matter how you want to do that, Xenoplicity offers you those options. Xenoplicity runs on a different type of system. This is a new system that we created from the ground up. It is called the CUES system. That's an acronym, CUES. and that stands for Cinematic Universal Emergent Storytelling. And every one of those things, there's a lot to unpack there, but really quickly, it's cinematic because the way the game plays is going to feel cinematic in a way that you are not familiar with or that you have not seen in other games. A lot of these other games that I play, they like to be cinematic. They talk about that in their books, or maybe they refer to themselves as a storytelling system in the case of White Wolf products. But the thing is, when you're playing Xenoplicity, it is going to feel very narrative, very cinematic, but it is not a storytelling game. A story is going to get told, but it's going to get told by player choice, by character actions, by dice results. So that's the emergent storytelling part of this game. And it's also universal in the sense that it is not a generic game, okay? But it does come with a setting, but that setting is so broad, right? Because we cover sci-fi, fantasy, and post-apocalypse, that you can really apply this game to any type of game that you want to play, right? Whether you're in starships flying across the galaxy, whether you're on a fantasy world fighting dragons and orcs and things like that, or whether you're in the post-apocalypse setting, struggling to survive, trying to find food, where every bullet counts. And you're struggling against an alien invasion or monsters or whatever you throw at your PCs. This game is going to do that and do that well because of the way that the system is set up. It is a universal system that applies across the board, and so you can take comfort in knowing that this book is going to work for any type of game, right? And that was important for us as we developed it. Xenoplicity is so cool. The rules in this book, they only account for about 30 pages worth of material, okay? Not a lot of space in the book, even though it's a nice sized book. It's not rules heavy, but there are plenty of rules. It is not, I wouldn't call it a system light system. It is not that. It definitely has plenty of crunch, okay? But the rules are easy to understand. They're intuitive once you learn them, and they make sense on a natural level. And so you can really just take this, run with it. It's not going to require you to constantly be flipping through the book and referencing things in the book to play the game. There's lots of tables, there's lots of charts, but a lot of those things are more for the director, for the game master, for them to turn to, because again, we give lots of tables and charts. If you want to roll things up randomly, there's guidance in here for that. The game also covers rules for mass combat, for building companies and running companies, for building cities and running cities, for creating strongholds. All that is in your crafting system, hacking system. Again, because it's going to cover fantasy, sci-fi, post-apocalypse, we have rules in here for everything. Even rules for chases, for dogfighting. Okay, so this game system is going to give you whatever it is you need to really run a game across the board. As far as our setting goes, the three core settings we provide you in the book, the first being sci-fi. This is going to take place in the Milky Way galaxy, okay, our galaxy, but we give you galactic empires, we give you galaxy-spanning mega corporations, we give you starships and space travel and energy weapons and power armor. 11 playable alien species are in the book. It's a lot of fun. As far as the fantasy setting goes, it takes place on our fantasy world of Mythos, which is a planet in our galaxy, and this is where mythological and fantasy creatures come from. And this is where you're going to find your dragons, your elves, your dwarves, your orcs, your goblins, some beastmen. All of these things and more are on Mythos. We give you 25 playable fantasy species to play with. And so you can play all those things, and you can have like warring kingdoms and warring cultures, and do your classic dungeon delving and dungeon crawls. All of that is in our fantasy setting. As far as our post-apocalypse goes, that setting takes place on Earth because Earth has been invaded and conquered by aliens, and so what's left of Earth, it's really just wastelands and ruins, and there's alien threat. There's also radiation zones and mutants and people struggle with just even dealing with other humans because humanity has really devolved into its worst aspects since civilization has kind of collapsed and fallen apart. And so as you're playing a human, you can play in one of really two categories of human because humanity's kind of become divided. On one front, you've got the Outlanders, and these are humans that live among the wastelands of what's left of Earth. They struggle to get by, but they retain their freedom for whatever that's worth. But they're dealing with aliens, they're dealing with hostile threats of other humans. And then there are the vassals, and these are humans that have traded in their freedom and their liberty for safety. These are humans that have actually accepted alien overlords. They have surrendered themselves to living under alien rule. And so aliens have set up certain cities that are shielded, that are protected from the threats and dangers, that are out there in the wilderness. Within these cities, you are now part of the alien stronghold, but you have access to advanced technologies and alien medicines, and psionics and bionics have been introduced into humanity, and so humanity's be evolving and becoming something greater, but at the same time lesser, because they are subject to alien rule. And so do you trade in your liberty and your freedom to live under an alien occupation? And so the vassals have done that. And so humanity is kind of divided in this sense as what's the right approach. And so you can play on Earth in this kind of setting too. Or you can play a human that has escaped Earth and is now living among the stars, among alien species, and that would be cool as well. And you could also do something like a human that has found their way to Mythos, and so now they're among all the fantasy species and creatures. And again, humanity does exist there, but it's very small pockets, because these are humans that have been transplanted from Earth to Mythos through either magic, some kind of dimensional rift, or maybe by alien abduction, who knows. So there are small pockets of humans, but when you're playing in the fantasy setting, you're typically playing something non-human, because humans would be the very rare minority. The age of man has yet to come to Mythos, as it were. And so depending on what you want to play, this game is going to offer you something. And so you can play whatever makes sense for you and your group, whatever you guys are drawn to. The bulk of the book is actually on character creation and setting. Obviously, there's a lot there in the setting, but also character creation. Character creation is over 60 pages of this book, because it is so vast, because we give you so much to play with, and you can really make any kind of character you want to make using our system. We're going to make a character creation video. We're also going to do a sample gameplay video, so you get to see some of those things kind of like in real time, and we'll kind of go through those things together. But I just want you to understand, when you're buying Xenoplicity, when you get Xenoplicity, this is a game that really works fundamentally different on every level that you can think of. We don't have turns in this game like you would think of with like player 1 goes, then player 2, then player 3. We don't do that in Xenoplicity. In Xenoplicity, everyone goes at the same time, and then those results are narrated by the game master, with all the players getting to kind of chip in and add their own flavor, their own bit of narration to that whole. So you get a real sense of collaborative storytelling. You get a real sense of emergent storytelling that's coming out of what is being rolled at the table. Highly encourage you guys to check it out. Xenoplicity, it's a great game. You should buy it. You should play it. Try it once. I promise you'll play it more than once, because you're going to have so much fun at your table from this. Something else that's really cool about the game, we also have novels that are set in the game setting. This is the first novel. It's called Scavenged. It takes place on post-apocalypse Earth, with humanity struggling to survive among an alien occupation. It's a great book. It's really fun. So check that out. The second book is getting ready to come out. That is the book called Augmented. This is a demo of the book. It's going to come out later this year. And again, it just keeps the story going, and it's a lot of fun. This is a great read. These are great ways to dive deeper into the lore of Xenoplicity, so strongly encourage you guys to check that out. They're just a lot of fun. They're really cool. Get them on Amazon.com or Barnes & Nobles or wherever books are sold. Anyway, guys, that is the introduction video to Xenoplicity. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, check out this. Go to DriveThruRPG. Check it out. We're going to have several modules coming up for the game, so you'll have some adventures that are made. The book also comes with 3 quick start adventures in the core book, so you can just pick up this book, you can flip through it, you can read it over, get a sense for how to play the game, and just jump right into gameplay. You can buy this book, read it, and play it all in the same day. It is not an overly complicated game to buy and invest in. I strongly encourage you guys to check it out for yourself. You will not be disappointed. Thanks guys so much. Y'all have a wonderful day.